morning, Drawing One. We're going to be starting the charcoal erase project today, and I'm going to do a short demonstration for you. We're working on the large Reeves BFK paper from the bookstore. We've got our compressed charcoal that comes in the bag that is the ultra dark, super soft, and we've got the general set, which is a little bit less dark, a little bit harder compressed charcoal. And then we've got our clicky eraser, and our kneaded gray and our hard white erasers. And first we're going to tone the paper gray. It's going to be a subtractive drawing where we're going to erase out the lights and add the darks later. So I'm just going to break off a stick of one of my soft compressed charcoal, and working on the side, I'm going to do a short area here, but you would be toning the whole paper right up to the edge. And you want a light to medium gray tone. I've got my first coat down. Grab my paper towel, smooth that out. And you want a nice even gray tone. If you feel like parts of the drawing look a little splotchy or lighter, or if you have any streakiness, I've got a little streakiness there, you could do one more coat going in the opposite direction, and that'll smooth out the texture. If you don't like the feeling of the charcoal on your hands, you're welcome to use surgical gloves to protect your hands while you're working. I've already got my pre-toned paper ready for me to go to start my drawing on. So I've already done a nice even coat of gray. I'm going to do a demonstration of this little sphere here. And the easiest way to sketch out your composition is with your clicky eraser, because as you're working, and I'm going to move the camera a little closer for you guys so you can get a nice close-up view. As you're working, if you end up, as you're sketching your ball, saying, oh, I don't like that, I wish I'd moved it over, I wish I'd done it larger or smaller, it's very easy to just take a paper towel, go back to the gray, and start over. Whereas if you were using a charcoal pencil or a charcoal stick to draw the sphere and you didn't like it, it'd be a little bit harder to erase. So I'm just going to start with my sphere. Trying to get the shapes correctly sketched out with nice proportion. And then you've already got the gray, you're just looking for pulling out the lights and adding the darks. I like the kneaded. If I really want a pure white and I can't get it with the kneaded, I will go to the hard white eraser. But I'm just pulling out. I notice that there's a light hitting the top left side of the ball. And you remember when the kneaded gets dirty or gets darkened, you just pull it out to get to a clean spot. I notice that gets super white, and I'm putting quite a bit of pressure here to get that really white highlight. If I'm still not happy with it, I will grab my hard white eraser, the magic rub, and I can get even a cleaner white here. And then I would blend that white out, probably going back to my kneaded and just creating a light gray area around that white to just make sure that white blends out. And then I'm grabbing my, and you can use either of the charcoal, the generals. There's a 2B, a 4B, and a 6B. Play around with the different levels of darkness. I see a medium dark in here. I see a very dark here. That blackest core shadow there, I would move up to the bigger sticks to really work that. But I could start with one of my small generals, maybe the middle of the road, the 4B, and I could start laying in some of my medium darks here. Charcoal will blend really easily with finger or with paper towel. If I feel like I went too dark, I can always lighten up with my kneaded eraser. The paper is pretty forgiving. It'll let you work into it with an eraser quite a bit. You don't have to worry about tearing the paper or roughing up the paper. There's a little bit of a reflected light here. I'm going to pull that out on the bottom of the ball there. And then lastly, I would really add that extra dark, it's just a little bit of a core shadow right on this right side of the ball that I would really give it a little work with the extra dark. Cast shadow runs underneath. I notice that the cast shadow kind of is extra dark under the ball, and then as it moves away from the ball, it lightens up. So I could vary my pressure as I come out, or if I feel like I got too dark with it, too quick, or I didn't like that little outline that I created there, I didn't like that harsh edge, I could, again, lighten that up a little bit. It's a very forgiving technique, so it's a very, if you make mistakes, it's easy to work it with lights, work it with darks. I notice that there's a darker wall on this side of the ball that's kind of popping the ball out from the backdrop a little bit. And I notice on this side of the ball, the wall lightens up to kind of pull that edge of the ball out. Defining edges, that's where you could come in with your charcoal pencil and clean up the edge of the ball where you feel like it's a little mushy or a little bit blurry. And don't forget that little technique of using your clicky eraser to smooth that out if you feel like it's a little rough. And that's about it. That's the technique of it's a subtractive shading technique. You're pulling out the lights, you're adding the darks, and you already have the gray. You'll see the charcoal on the soft paper with a gray tone that you're working on makes blending a whole lot easier than when you're working on straight white paper. Okay. All right, so that's it. And have fun exploring the world of charcoal and the subtractive technique. Thank you so much. Have fun.